The Hansa Fish River Canoe Marathon is proudly brought to you by Hansa Pilsner. 364 days of the year, Grass Ridge Dam here, right in the middle of the Klein Karoo, is quiet. Nothing really goes on. But for one day of the year, it is a hive of activity. It's the start of the Hansa Fish River Canoe Marathon. And in 2016, which is a K1 championship year, this is hosting one of the most hotly contested canoeing events on the global calendar.
Yeah, I really enjoy fish. I think this is my 13th one, so done quite a few, and enjoy the race every year. It doesn't seem like a race because everyone's always in such good high spirits and just worried about having a braai and chilling out. It'll be cool.
The great thing about the fish this year is it's SAK1. So 2 years ago I managed to win the K1 section. I'd love to defend my title, but you know, there's a lot of guys I think that want to put their hands up for the title. So I think it's going to be an awesome race to watch, and hopefully I'm up there to put on a good show.
In amongst those top contenders, there's no doubt that Hank McGregor is going to be one of them. Jasper Mocker, his teammate, is in there. Andy Burkett, Kiko Vega, the Spanish Seller champion, in an exciting mix as A-Batch comes under starters orders at Grass Ridge Dam. Beautiful Karoo day installed, somewhat chilly, but you can be guaranteed that the racing on the water is going to be red hot. As the boats line up for a Le Mans start, rudders on the bank, it's a short run down to their boats. Then at the start of a 46-kilometre day, plenty of trouble in the first 10 kilometres. Soutpunt's just past halfway, and Knutsford now marks the end of this 46-kilometre stage. One that tests not only the endurance and technical abilities, but also their knowledge of the course, which changes year on year. A-Batch underway, and of course this is a massively important part. We're on board now with the World Marathon Champion once again, Hank McGregor. He's bolting away, and everybody now looking to people like McGregor to try and set the pace and jump on their wave. On board now with Jasper Mocker. He's pulling away nicely, but quickly you can see that diamond starting to form at the front there. 5 or 6 boats, and in the white boat there, Greg Lowe getting a cracker of a start, and ominously Hank McGregor comes powering through that bunch, making them all look like they're looking for parking. Across the dam they go, 20-odd boats together, and it's Greg Lowe who's first out of the water. Hank McGregor may be a little surprised by that, but he's tucking in behind him as they head off for the 1-kilometre paddle, and then down to double trouble. It's Andy Burkett who's gone to the front, just behind him Greg Lowe, and those are the front three. Hank McGregor, let's see how they do here. Burkett is safely through the big stopper at the bottom. Greg Lowe aces it. No problem at all for the man. Hank McGregor is there as well. So there's the front three decided. Here comes Jasper Mocker, desperately trying to catch up to them into the big stopper, and boom. That is terrible news for Jasper Mocker, because his chances of getting onto that front bunch have just gone sinking into the waters of the Fish River. So the new double troubleshoot is still proving to be a problem with the elite paddlers. Back to Grass Ridge Dam now, and the elite women lining up for their start.
So I don't think I felt this nervous in a long time. I think just, you know, not being as prepared as I usually am. You just, you know, in the back of your mind, you know that all the other girls are top form and it's going to be a hard race. And yeah, lots of girls out here, but I'm excited. I mean, this is what racing's all about, to have a strong field, and let's see what happens.
Well, I always feel like I can push hard from Soutpunts. I'm not always cautious till then, but I feel like once you get through Soutpunts, then you really can put the hammer down.
So the women's batch gets underway, and no doubt that Abby Psalms is going to be the person that all the other girls are going to be trying to shadow, certainly across the dam and down the early stages. And as you can see, Abby getting a cracker of a start. She's at the front already. But what makes this women's race interesting is that there are 5 or 6 women that could easily race their way onto the podium, and that might just shake things up in terms of the way the girls approach things. This might be a case of safety first going out of the window. It's Abby first out of the water at the Grass Ridge Dam Walk Portage. Just behind her is Bridget Hartley, but Abby deciding she's going to lay down a marker early on. Bridget, the bronze medalist from London, who's really enjoying being back on the river, trying to put pressure on her. But as you can see, as Abby comes into double trouble, there's not another boat in sight. Abby loves this style of river paddling. Down into the bottom chute she goes, into the main stopper. Styling, absolutely no problem at all for Abby Solms at double trouble. Robin Owen, as she is now, loving being back on the river. Hasn't been in a boat for a while. And she so close for Robs as she gets through the bottom stopper. And here comes Bridget Hartley, really trying to put pressure on the girls in front of her. Into the last stopper she goes, catches it left, catches it right. And it's a swim for Bridge. She was here for pre-fish and was desperately trying to eliminate those swims to make sure that she's competitive. But we know how good she is on flat water. And that's exactly where the girls are now.
Well, we've been training really hard for day 3 of fish, vomit shoot, after party.
You are very hot, Hansa. Oh, you must have some Hansa. Ja, Mann. Ja, Mann. Ist gut, ja. Wie man kann pennen. Ja.
Having lots of fun.
All the gear, no idea.
We found the bridge pillar. It's not a good way to go down Keats, apparently.
Back to the front of the race, and the first major obstacle just before the 10-kilometer mark. It's Keats flyover, and it's Andy Burkett who's leading first into Keats. Beautiful line, left of center into the approach. Andy handling the big water brilliantly, staying away from the bank on the right, only just on board now with Hank McGregor as he goes thundering through the big waves. Greg Lowe just behind them, he'll have no problems with this. He's a local around here. He grew up paddling on the stretch of water, so he, if anybody, will know exactly where every wave and every eddy goes. But it doesn't all go according to plan. These guys are also starting in the A Elite batch, and as you can see, it becomes a bit of a circus on a moment's notice, and that's somebody's race. Goners in the waters of Keats flyover. It only gets worse from there. 26 kilometers in, Soap Puns Drift Rapid and a great spectator point. Greg Lowe is leading, Hank McGregor following second. Andy Burkett taking a tight line, too far right, but going under the bridge and then into those 250 meters of churning white water. Really testing water, actually. This water changes year on year, and last year Soap Puns produced plenty of surprises. And this is where people swam a lot last year, but look, the paddlers are wise to it. They've all gone left of that center wave, and the front three all escape unscathed. Now, less than 20 kilometers to go to the finish just below the Knutsford Bridge. And at this stage, Greg Lowe was shrugged off the back of the pack as the world number 1 and number 2, Hank McGregor and Andy Burkett, simply turned up the heat. Hank McGregor is going to claim the overnight psychological advantage of leading the race. But as you can see, Andy Burkett actually quite content to be sitting on his wave as they claim a big 1-2 for the world number 1 and number 2 from Brandenburg. Just behind them, shrugged off 2 Ks upstream, Greg Lowe, last year's K2 champ, still in the hunt.
Really happy to be here, leading the fish. Super great conditions, great vibe, and sportsmanship out there today was awesome. So very happy to come away with the first stage win.
Yeah, it was great racing. Greg Lowe was with us for most of the way until just after cut-call. And we had some good banter out there on the water, and yes, it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and stoked to still be with Hank at the end of day 1.
So a fascinating leaderboard as the 2 world marathon champs, top step of the podium paddlers, take over the top. Andrew Houston with a great result at 5, and Jacob Adam, the first international, in at 6. Now back to Keats flyover to catch up with the women's race, and as we suspected, it's caution to the wind time. Abby Solms into the big water of Keats, and she's making it look like child's play. This is a world-class line. So calm and composed. Abby acing Keats at the front of the race. Now that means anybody that's going to want to try and catch her is going to have to take the same risk, or will they? No, Jenna Ward has decided to opt for safety first, and she's running down the left-hand bank, and here comes Nikki Russell, also acing Keiths, and that should bounce Nikki into second 10Ks into the race. It does indeed. There's Jenna Ward getting going. Suddenly she finds herself in third. More and more of the girls are taking on the big risks. Bridget Hartley was going to take this on. She decides to portage. Let's zoom downstream to Soutpansdrift, and Abby Solms gets bounced out of that last wave, but she is completely in control as she heads into Soutpans. Robin Owen now in second. Big smile on her face as always as she slides underneath the bridge. Ooh, takes a little bit of a bounce from that wave, corrects it, and she heads downriver. Jenna Ward right behind her, making sure that a mistake is going to be costly. Oh, and there is a mistake. Robin is bounced out to the right in that last stopper, and that's going to open the door for Jenna to move up, and the ladies' leaderboard shaking up once again. Arguably the ladies more exciting than the men at this stage. Here comes Bridget Hartley now underneath the bridge. As the ladies head down to the finish, the marker laid early on by Abby Solms turns out to have been an emphatic one. She taps down with acres of space between herself and the following ladies to claim the psychological overnight lead in the women's race.
I didn't expect to come in with such a lead. I only heard it my gap when I was sort of 10Ks from the end, so it definitely helps, gives you motivation for these last tough 10Ks.
So having a look at the overall women's leaderboard, it's been a fantastic race amongst the women, with Abby, Bridget and Jenna making up the top three, but pressure definitely coming from Robin and Nikki as well, with Christy McKenzie looming large, ready to pounce. It was an epic 46 kilometers for the over 1,000 paddlers that make up this year's Hansa Fish. With 36 kilometers in store on day 2, they're heading for a grandstand finish in Craddock on Saturday morning.
Well, it was such a nice day. Made everything, it was lekker. It's just a lekker race.
We feel very good, but Hans had his heart taken by Keith.
It was lots of fun. Yeah, it was really fun, and no swim, so we had to go in.
The Hansa Fish River Canoe Marathon was proudly brought to you by Hansa Pilsner.